Alright, welcome back to another Mask Momentum video. Peter here. Today, we're back. It's the morning. I fell asleep on the chair, recording this the first time, so I have to re-record this one. So we got the we got the semifinals here between Kevin and Brian here. I've already got into the action here. So we have an up sticks, we have a Savior Bloodshed into the Hunter's Clave. We just got a triple block here into a Kiss of Death here for 3. Kevin blocking with the footsteps for 3. Is Brian gonna mark him already just to flip? Alright, yep, he is going, presumably going to flick this knife. Actually, he's kind of thinking more about it here. So it was 9 on 9 here. His +4/+4, and then the 1 base power, and then just the Kiss of Death for 3 here. Actually, pretty interesting. He's like attacked with it, but did get to do 3 damage here because there was a non-block in Kevin's hand. This matchup is quite interesting, I will say. This Brian and Kevin did play in Swiss, and Brian did win earlier, which I heard about, but matchup is pretty interesting. In that matchup, Brian kept Kevin off of Soul for the majority of the game, which is actually pretty important versus Prism. If you can keep them off of Soul, those 7 attack poppers are really strong against Prism. But you don't really see a lot of them in the sideboard, and traditionally Prism is a good matchup against these assassin decks because they don't have the popper density to, pop their stuff, and also they kind of died to these tricks here as well. We got a blue Herald of Triumph coming in for 5. This is the one that's going to give -1 to anything that is defending. And then he's going to actually just come in with a second one, pitching double Herald here and attacking for 5. We got double Figment in the pitch zone. We have double Herald of Triumph blue attacking. This is quite interesting. Brian blocking 6 on the first one. Probably does not have a D-react in case there was a pump over it. Let's see if he blocks 6 on the second one or not, or gives a soul. Okay, is gonna block 6 on the second one. There was a CNC on that one, but it did get -1 because of the Herald of Triumph, so he couldn't pop it, which is quite interesting on this end. Kevin drawing back up, seeing if he wants to do anything on Brian's turn. This version of Prism, the new Prism especially, doesn't really play in your opponent's turn as much as it used to. Most of the time that I see them playing on their opponent's turn, they're kind of just like flipping up a Figment if they have extra pitch that they're not going to use for that turn or not. So it's pretty interesting. This is going to be a Herald of Protection for 7 coming in. Looks like Brian is going to block for 3 and then have a defense direction go to 7 here. Kevin's just to let that pass, and then is going to send another Herald here. See if Brian continues just to keep blocking and blocking this entire time, but this is just for 7, so he's actually going to take the entire 7 here, going down to 33. Doesn't look like he had another defensive reaction here. Double red Herald is quite good. This one also is going to be the one that gives -1 to all, so he couldn't even pop it if he wanted to. Here as well is going to get the True and Behold Herald of Erudition, the Figment of Erudition, to make that Ponder token, and then get that free Arsenal. This is a tried and true what the person wants to do. If they attack on the second time, the second one hits, you don't have any cards in your hand, getting that Ponder token really strong. One of the few decks that can actually use Ponder tokens super efficiently is these 2 archetypes, going to be that Assassin and that Prism Awakener of Soul. Yep, basically any card in this Prism deck you can Arsenal. If it's a Herald, it's still good. If it's a pump that he drew, it's pretty good. Figment's a little bit awkward, but like maybe you can Arsenal them a little bit, but majority of the time they're quite good. Brian, just going to start with a 1 with that Hunter's Cleave here. Just going to mark on hit. Has that piercing 1, pretty interesting. We got the Phantasmal Footsteps, obviously, for the pop, but cannot block these daggers efficiently here. Something that you really want to look forward to is like in draft, blocking the daggers is actually like pretty good because you want to stop the on hit like mark. But in CC, a lot of the time people want to block the on hit effect instead of like the Hunter's Cleave or something like that. Limited, there's a lot more pumps for the daggers versus in CC. There's not that many. But we're gonna use Tunic and then attack for another one here. And then we're gonna go for 1-1-4 here. Let's see if Kevin blocks this one. Kevin, one of the few people I know that has been always on this Prism deck, has not wavered since it came in to popularity a little bit ago. I remember, you know, PT Amsterdam last year, there's a lot of Prism decks running around, and a lot of them fell off after a while with, you know, the banning of the chess piece and stuff like that. But I always see Kevin playing the Prism deck, a master of the craft here. See what he got for us. We do know that there is that pump in the arsenal. We have a Light of Soul in hand. Is going to be that yellow Fable that's going to put a card into Soul. No, reveal the top card if it's a yellow, put it into Soul, I believe. And then if it's a Herald, then it is quite good. But we're just going to see that he's going to... So there's an Arclight Sentinel, and then he's going to just get rid of the pump from the arsenal here, and then move the Mark token out of the way. Alright, let's see what he has on his turn. So coming in for that 1 for 6 here. I'm going to pitch that Lattice trigger. It is going to be a yellow, but does he want to put it into Soul? No, it looks like he's thinking about it. Yeah, it's pretty interesting here because if you put it into Soul, you can't get that Figment later. Figment of Judgment is actually not the worst in a lot of the matchups. I don't know how good it is specifically in this matchup, but keeping, you know, threat density in, keeping threat density in your deck is pretty good. You're trying to swing with a lot of these angels late game. Maybe you can't get it done with the first or second one. Usually the Figment of Judgment is one of the like the silver bullets here in late game. Looks like we're in a block for 3 and we have a defense reaction. There should be that Frailty, which I think actually does nothing in this matchup because it's not like Prism's gonna attack with their weapon. There is a pump in hand from Kevin. Let's see if he wants to use it here. No, there actually isn't a pump. That is just another Herald. I ain't gonna lie. The artwork kind of be looking the same. It's all EA Angel-esque. So, opponent blocks another 6 here. So, just double block. I mean, if this does keep up, eventually Brian would probably fatigue. And we know he's gonna have that Figment of Judgment, because we saw it on top, but he did not put it into his Soul. It's gonna be 1 for 7 here. Look at Brian's hand again. We just look at 4-3 blocks. This actually is a kind of a weirdish hand as well. Doesn't really look too powerful. So is it going to take 7 here, going down to 26. Hand doesn't look too good at blocking, too good at not doing the thing here as well. Just have like a Justin, like a Leave No Witness, Tarantula Toxin, and then another 0 for 3. Alright, we got the Figment of Protection here that's going to come and make a Spectral Shield token, which is going to block an additional 1. Then, of course, this is the power play. When you have multiple Soul as Prism, you flip this Figment, and then you're going to attack for 4 here, and here draw 2 cards here if you want to give out the Soul as well. Yep. So start with that 7 go again. It's 4 a go again. You're drawing 2 cards. Just powerful stuff. We have an Erudition in his hand. We have another 7 attack Herald as well. Looks like we're going to attack with that 7 cost as well. This one's going to be on hit, make a Spectral Shield, that Herald protection. We're going to actually pitch the Erudition. We have the 2 block on our chest piece in our arms, with tunic and arms, and also the helmet here. Erudition way better when your opponent does not have the armor to block it, or you have the pump over it as well. Kevin looking through his deck, completely blinged out, looks amazing here with the cold foils as well. So we're gonna get that Figment of War. It's gonna make that Courage token here, which is gonna give a +1 on the next attack here. So you had 2 Spectral Shields, a flipped, with 2 Spectral Shields, a flipped Angel Courage token, an Arsenal here. So we're in quite ahead here from Kevin. This Prism deck is so scary. The second that you let this hit, it just does so amazing things. Talking back to that Swiss game, it was up 36-37 to like 5. Brian was ahead, and Kevin brought it back all the way to like 1-2 here. It was just incredible. But this is one of those answers that we can see from the Assassin deck. We got the pick to pieces here. If this one has an attack reaction, damage dealt cannot be prevented, so that Angel and the 2 Spectral Shields would not be prevented. Looks like we have 3 blocks and an Arc Light Sentinel in hand from Kevin. Arsenal is going to be another Angel, not an Angel, another Herald, I believe. Thinking about it here, if Brian has anything, probably going to Snapdragon Scalers it. This is going to go to 4. Looks like Kevin's just actually going to take it. You know, the Angel's going to die. The Spectral Shield's also going to die. Just going to take the full 4 here. See what else we got going on. It's going to be a Leave No Witness. 4/4 here. Brian 2 cards in hand, threatening those pumps from him. Although a lot of the pumps here are stealth specific here, and Leave No Witness is not a stealth card, it is a contract card from that set. So there's not really a lot of buff effects for this Leave No Witness in this Mario deck, it seems. All of the decks that I saw this weekend that were Mario decks didn't really have much. It was just using it as a 0/4 value card. You know, Codex of Frailty, super good with it. Having no cards in their hand, being able to make this just a 0/4 with both of the effects here. But Kevin with a slight life total lead, and looks like a board state lead as well. 19-15 has obviously that Courage token on the field, double Figment already on the field as well. Scariest part about these Prism decks is letting them hit on that first Herald swing of the turn is really hard. If they hit on the second one, it's not too big of a deal because they won't have to go again most likely. But if they hit on the first one, they can get that free flip. Oh, and a couple too many cards. But it looks like a Figment and then a Herald as well. Not too many reds here in the deck for that Leave No Witness from Kevin's side. Arsenal going to draw up. Brian does IP1 himself here, but is able to put a little bit of pressure onto Kevin. We have this Herald here. This one's going to come in for 7 as well. Got the Courage token here. This one on hit is going to do 1 arcane damage to your opponent. Herald of Ravages. So we have a 2 block and some 3 blocks in hand from Brian. Doesn't look like these hands have lined up too well for him. Do you have multiple attack reactions in hand and up sticks and just like no attack to pair them with unless it's in Arsenal? Can't really see what the Arsenal card is from Brian, but this is coming in for 7. You don't really have armor to really block these additional like 7s and on hits from the assassins. From this Mario side, you're having to use so many of these value equipment here. All right, going to block 8 on the 7 here. 1 card left in hand. Tim most likely is just going to send another Herald through just for 6. Herald of Judgment. Can't play things from Bannerstone. The text is not that relevant as it used to be back when Chain was legal in the format, but still a Herald that attacks for 6 and seen in these lists here. Does Brian want to block or not? Yep, he is going to, block for 3. I'm going to take 3. We're going to get another Figment here out of the deck. We could probably get that Judgment if there's nothing better. We did take a couple things. There's a Herald. There's the Rebirth Figment here. There's also one other. Yeah, is just going to get the Judgment. As I said earlier, usually doesn't have too many targets, but is going to be very good with just some of the other just to be, a flip angel and stuff like that. Like this turn, he could also just flip the Judgment, or he could flip the War, or he could flip something else from his with his hero ability, because it is free with the Rapture as well, which he's going to do. It's not like he's trying to hit anything or not, but just getting kind of like a value angel here. Figment Reward gives the Courage token, and then gives everything +1 additionally. Actually pretty interesting looking at this in a way of the arms is Calming Gesture, which is going to be the AB1 Mickey Spectral Shield arms, which you don't really see unless you're playing against Enigma mostly. But the Prism deck, that is actually pretty interesting. I don't know what else you would actually play in the arms. Doesn't really seem like there's too much, but seeing a second one of this Light of Soul, it's going to hit a blue this time. So it is not going to flip it in. This is going to be 6 go again here off this Herald. Brian thinking about what he can do on his turn here. So block that Herald for 6 here. Specifically, what you can do with these War-Torn Heralds is you're gonna have a lot of pitch left over, so you can swing this angel in the middle and then finish on another one here, coming in for 6 at the end here. Starting to go into Soul, to flip another angel here, and get another Figment from the deck. Brian all the way to 2 has to take so much damage every single turn because of this. Looking here, what else do we have? It's probably just going to be the Figment of Rebirth here. Kind of going down the chain of what is relevant on these Figments, but it might not matter too much. This game looking pretty dire here from Brian. Let's see what what Kevin wants to put back on top of his library. Is going to put another War-Torn Herald back on top. See if he wants to flip anything. Most likely it would be fine if he flips something here with his Prism ability. We do have the Flick Knives, so the Flick Knives is going to probably take out one of these unless he pitches to the arms, but Kevin still even has that still has the play with the helmet here. Usually that is one of the Prism's really powerful turns here, but doesn't need to do it on this time. The weapon attacking for 1 here. Looks like we have Erudition, a pump, another yellow, and a blue Herald in hand here. See what Kevin wants to do. There's not a lot of stuff. Let's see where the dagger actually went, but he's gonna plus it by 3 here. So one of those figments are going to die. Then we got that Codex here. See if he chooses to get that 0 for 4 and just actually send it into the Angel. No, he just has a CNC here. Just CNC Kevin here threatening to get the Angel out. Doesn't have an arsenal, but he is going to make one with the Codex of Frailty. See what Kevin chooses here. He has a lot of different heralds he can get. Looks like he's just going to get this protection here. Think about it a little bit more here. See if he wants to protect it at all. You know, the Command and Conquer coming in, he could give one card plus the Angel to stop basically the 6 coming through, but that actually wouldn't work because of the Flick Knives. The Flick Knives would be coming in and dealing that 1 point of damage, so Kevin would have to pitch for the Calming Gesture to stop that 1 point of damage, or would just have to let the Angel die. So that doesn't work too much, but looking like we have a Herald of Tenacity here. Gonna be that Dominate Herald. Discard one of those cards here. Going to block 3, and then with the Herald. See what Brian wants to, he is going to Flick Knives here. See what Kevin wants to do. Alright, he's going to use the Calming Gesture to get the Flick Knives activation out as well. That Spectral Shield is going to take that Flick Knives activation. There's kind of a trade of weapon / arm pieces here on both sides. Does have a Frailty token, so this is just going to come in for 5, I believe. 5 Dominate, so has to give equipment on this one. Looks like we have a defense reaction. Looks like we have another popper in hand as well from Brian's side. Particular area here, you just have 2 stealth attacks, CNC, and then a defense reaction. see what Brian wants to do. Has to give up at least a little bit of armor here because of how low he is, 15 to 2. You don't know what that arsenal is. Could give up Tunic plus the defense reaction in hand, which looks like he's going to do. Yep, I'm gonna give up 5 right here. Want to keep the flick knives, want to keep the mask of deceit here as well. See what Brian can pressure on this turn. Has a blue. He's going to start off with the weapon. I'm going to try to mark his opponent here. Attacking for 1. Has the Tarantula Toxin from the Ponder token. It's going to attack for 4, going down to 11. Got the Mark token as well. So what Brian can do here is just actually send the CNC. Pitch the last card in his hand, send the CNC here. Just kind of push damage. Kevin doesn't even have to really do anything here. Can just take the 6, going down to 5. Looks like you have an erudition in his hand, so it's gonna take the armor block as well. So Brian's just going to pass. Doesn't know to send anything else. You're gonna flip for his Arakni, gets the 6. It's gonna be the trapdoor. Probably the best thing that Brian can hit here because there's so many different things happen. Was trying to end the game with erudition, most likely from Kevin's side. This trap will go around it. It's only block once from hand. This is not in hand. Most likely he's going to keep the CNC that's in Brian's hand as well. Alright, we got a 7 with go again here. This one does have Phantasm. He's gonna get isn't going to get a -1, but the -1 Figment is actually still in Kevin's deck, and he has the helmet here. So always kind of sidestep that as well. Figment of Ravages, which could end the game here with doing the arcane damage. Got banished off of a hit earlier, so can't even search that up. He can block 8 here, turn into another Arakni. It's not going to do an insane amount for him, just gets additional text because Trapdoor didn't have anything, but this is going to be the Black Widow. Gets +3 as a hero of the bench card from their hand, which is quite powerful. Looks like we are going to use the helmet here. This is not going to be the Spell Void side. This is to be the activated ability. You don't see that often unless you unless you're playing against Prism deck specifically. And a draw card, putting a Herald in Soul. But if you get to put a Herald into Soul, you get to trigger Prism ability. So Triumph is going to come down and give everything -1 this turn. It's not really going to affect anything here, but is going to turn on the chess piece specifically. Then we got another 7 attack here. Plays around the CNC perfectly here. It's going to block only for 6, going down to 1. And then you can still flip one of these here. Does not look like he has another Figment in his deck. He's kind of used all of them at this point, because one of them was banished, so that was the last one. Burton specifically didn't also use a trap this game. Maybe we're in out of traps to be able to play against the Prism as well. So just banish the card face down. Can just start here for go again, because you did pitch a yellow here. Put 1 card at the bottom and draw a card. 3 cards left in hand here. Pretty dire situation. We got a Herald in hand as well. This is start to become the lock from the Prism side. We have 4 go again into a Herald. Pretty much the rest of the game here. What he can do is activate Prism ability with a blue and then flip one of these and attack for 4 as well. Brian, only having a 3 block, is going to take the 1 and die. Kevin with the semifinals victory with Prism here. What a banger of a game, showing why Prism still has legs in this format as well. That's going to be the semifinals here, and we're going to catch back up on the finals. See you guys in the next one.